Hello, y'all. This is Demi here, giving you a taste of how I do my birth chart readings. So, I wanted to do a birth chart reading on one of my favorite artists. Um, she's just awesome, Beyonce Knowles. I love her so much. I love her music a lot. She's definitely a game changer. And so, I definitely just wanted to show you guys how I read a chart and kind of talk about someone that we know generally. Of course, her and Jay-Z and her family kind of keeps things hush hush. So that, we don't know too many details about them, but we knew about her generally. And so I wanted to show you guys how I read so you can kind of go back and be like, oh yeah, she does do that. Or yeah, that does happen. And you guys get a taste of how accurate and well I do birth chart readings, okay? All right, so let's get started. First thing I noticed is she has most of her planets and asteroids. She has this one asteroid, which honestly, I don't even know what that is. That is Vertex. I never saw Vertex look like that before. So that's interesting. Besides her Vertex, which is an asteroid that defines a very destined moment, every single chart or every single planet on her chart is on the left side of the chart. And the thing is, when it comes to houses, your first, second, and third house represents, basically yourself. And your 10th, 11th, and 12th house represents kind of represents others. You know what I mean? Others in a sense of kind of like the general public. When it comes to the right side of your chart, your 4th, 5th, and 6th represents how you are with others, meaning like the people that are kind of close in your circle, while your 7th, 8th, and 9th actually represents more of how you are with people that you choose to have in your life. 4th, 5th, and 6th kind of like people that it is people that you choose to be in your life, but not really. Like, for instance, 5th house does represent dating, but it also represents children. 4th house represents your family, your immediate family, both the family that you make and the family that you're born into. 6th house represents routine, but also part of your team is your work environment. While the 7th, 8th, and 9th is a little bit different, because 7th is one-on-one relationships that you have, so you choose that. 8th house is how you intimately connect with people. And 9th house is also, it's funny, 7th and 9th house does represent relationships. A lot of people see 9th house more as kind of like your forever bae, the person that you marry. But generally, 9th house is foreign ideas and kind of like foreign travel and higher learning and how you view things in life. And so the things that you learn and more about and when it comes to the person that you marry, like they're kind of like a foreign entity within themselves. You're still choosing to learn about those things. You're still choosing to be with that person. So it's kind of like 7th, 8th, and 9th kind of, it represents the people that you are with, but you choose to be with, while 4th, 5th, and 6th are people that you kind of have to be with, if that makes sense. You have really not that much choice in it. So with that all being said, with all of her most of her planets being in 10th, 11th, 12th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd house, you can already see that since the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd house represents self, and the 10th, 11th, and 12th house represents kind of like society, it kind of shows that she has to bring herself to society. That's a part of her life lesson, is displaying who she is as a person to society. So she was already, you could just look at the chart and see that she was going to be famous or popular somehow, some way. All right, so that's number one. So we'll start off with the first house. The first house always starts with the ascendant, where you see AC at. And with that, her first house starts at Libra, which makes a lot of sense. Libra represents charm, beauty, relating to people on a one-on-one basis, and basically things like that. Like, it's very Venusian. So a person, like the first house represents self, personality, appearances. And so when people meet Beyonce, they think she's super sweet, super charming, super beautiful. So for her to have a Libra ascendant makes total sense to me. Another thing that I noticed about her first house too is that Venus is right on her ascendant, is conjuncting it. Venus is technically in her 12th house, but because it's in the same exact degree as her ascendant, because it's on her 12th house by the minute. So you see where Venus is, the pink sign right above where it says AC, which is the woman sign, is 20 degrees 13 minutes, while the ascendant is 20 degrees 16 minutes. That shows that it's technically in her 12th house, but because it's like right on her ascendant, people will count that as her first house too. So, Venus in your first house, that's actually a great indicator of beauty as well. Libra is a Venusian sign. So she was going to be beautiful, and that's just what it is. She was just going to be a beautiful person. Like, there's no choice. She was going to be charming. She was going to be liked by a lot of people. That is just how her life was going to be. So that makes a lot of sense there. Also, when you have Venus in the first house too, it kind of is a great indicator of how you're shaped. People with Venus in the first house are usually very womanly shaped, like they're very curvy. It's like there's no denying that this woman is a woman, and so for her to have that too explains her femininity and her curvy body as well. Pluto is in her first house as well, which is very interesting. Pluto represents empowerment, self-empowerment. And so even within her songs, when she started with Destiny's Child and when she was writing with them, a lot of her songs is kind of like self-empowerment, women empowerment. Like, it's kind of sticking to the man in relationship form. Like, you're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to treat me wrong. I know how to be treated. It has a lot of songs very, very much based on that, which, a lot of R&B artists did too. But kind of, if you compare her to someone like Mary J. Blige, who would kind of like beg for someone to be with her in her songs. I love Mary J., so please don't take this wrong. But she would like beg someone to stay with her. Like, she did the traditional R&B. A lot of R&B artists did that. Or she'll kind of like, make a song about just really someone hurting her so bad. Beyonce and Destiny's Child were kind of like more of like, fuck you, I'm gonna do my own thing type of vibe. So they're like both beautiful artists, both show different aspects of love, but you can definitely see the Pluto in her first house from that. Pluto in the first house too indicates someone that's very secretive. They're not going to show you their full self. That's just what it is. So even though a part of her chart is bringing herself to the forefront for society to see her, recognize her, perceive her, she's only going to show you a bit of her, and that's just what it is. And so she actually, with Pluto in the first house too, might be interested in divination, such as astrology and tarot and different things like that, which is pretty cool. So that's nice as well. And Pluto also represents intimately connecting with people, with others, because it's representative of Scorpio. And she does intimately connect with people through being herself. Again, this is the first house, being herself. So she shows people who she is, and she connects with them intimately through song, through her personality. So yeah, it's already showing up pretty good here. EP is just basically a different indicator of what an ascendant would be, so we don't have to look at that. The next is the moon. So you see the moon here, 20 degrees Scorpio, and it starts in her second house. You see that arrow next to the moon to the left of it? That basically shows that's the end of the first house and the beginning of the second house, just for the people who are not really into astrology like that. So this kind of shows, the moon kind of shows the most tumultuous part of your life, where moon is, where Cancer is, actually where any water sign or water sign planet is in shows a tumultuous part of your life, but the moon is the most tumultuous because it's the closest to the earth, and it also phases the most. You know, the moon constantly phases into to new moon to full moon in a monthly basis. It's always changing constantly. So that's why it's the most up and down part of your life. Now, with it being in Scorpio, again, like I explained Scorpio before, it indicates the how you intimately connect with people. And so it kind of shows that basically her money, like since second house represents like money and self-worth, how she feels about how she connects with people is going to be tumultuous. And so, like, you know, and it will affect her money and her, not only her material worth, but her self-worth, if that makes any sense. So she's going to have times where she feels like she's not fully connecting with people the way she wants to. And she's going to have times where she feels like she is. Like, it's going to be up and down. And we may not know it because, again, it's in Scorpio. Scorpio is a very secretive and more introspective sign. And then remember, her Pluto, which is also representative of Scorpio, is in her first house too. So she's very secretive. She's not going to let you guys know. She's going to put on that Libra face and act like everything's okay, everything's lovely, very light, very airy type of personality, because remember, Libra's in her first house. But inside, though, she worries about how she's emotionally connecting with people and intimately connecting with people, and it's going up and down and up and down. And a part of intimately connecting with people through her music is going to be through her music, because second house represents the second house represents song as well, or not even song, but just art. Actually song, yes, but it represents artistry, so any type of form of art. And so, you know, kind of connecting with people through her music is very important to her. And she feels like emotionally up and down about it. Like sometimes she's like, she's totally into how she's connecting with folks through her music and career. Sometimes she's like, oh, I'm not feeling it. I don't like how this is feeling. So that I'm not surprised that that's a tumultuous part of her life. She also, second house represents self-worth too. And so how she feels about her self-worth, it will go up and down as well. But again, she's keeping this very, very secretive, and she's using how she feels about her self-worth. She's kind of examining her up and downs, how she feels about it emotionally, and using it to empower herself. Because remember, Scorpio represents empowerment. And so she's using actually those up and downs to build her self-worth up. And she's actually using her up and downs to build her material worth up, i.e. lemonade. You know what I mean? Like, she kind of went deep into how she felt about her relationship with Jay-Z, and she just went out there and made a shit ton of money off of it. You know, so it's kind of like it helped build not only her self-worth, but it helps build her material worth as well. So that's very interesting. Uranus being in the second house too, another indicator of something that's tumultuous, not in the way of the moon, but the way not the same way as the moon is tumultuous, but Uranus is very like here one day, not here another. Like, it's kind of like doing weird things. You know what I mean? Kind of offbeat, eclectic kind of feel. That's what Uranus gives. It represents kind of like sporadic behavior. It represents the revolutionary. It represents unconditional love. It represents basically Aquarius energy, just very eclectic. And so again, it being in the second house and in Scorpio, she used eclectic and sporadic and weird ways to connect with people, and she goes ahead and connects with and does that, and it helps not only her self-worth, but it helps her make money as well. And I mean, look at the businesses she has. She has a whole bunch of different businesses. She does like kind of cool offbeat things on Instagram to connect with her fans. She'll randomly go to a store and like buy everyone's buy every one of the stores like grocery list or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? She just is like very random, very offbeat. But the thing is that with her just always thinking of different and new ways to connect with other people, to make money and to build her self-worth, it keeps her new and fresh. That's why that she's been out since like 16, 15, and she's like in her 30s and still means something and still is important and still is actually on top of her game, is because she uses like Uranus is in her second house. Like, she thinks of different cool ways to, you know, connect with people to make money. And she's not only just doing this to make money, because second house, don't get fooled, second house is big on self-worth too. It really builds her character doing these things too. It sharpens her mind. So, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, Beyonce has like a lot of minions and stuff, that people does a lot of stuff for her. I would say that's not the case. I feel like she's super duper into what's being done in her when it comes to her career and her business, because of Uranus being in the second house. Like, she's thinking ahead of the game. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she comes up with an idea and everyone's like, oh, that's cool, to her team, and then her team like kind of gets things going. She's continuously thinking of new ways to connect with her fans, connect with people, and you know, that actually helps her self-worth, which then helps her material worth. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So I was talking about Uranus. That was the 26 degrees, this little kind of burgundy sign that's near the moon. The glyph below Uranus is called Lilith. I think this is their version of Black Moon Lilith. I do not use, you know, Astro Themes version of Black Moon Lilith. And I do have something about that on my channel. So if you want to learn more about like Lilith in general, asteroid Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, Dark Moon Lilith, go ahead and look at my video, and that should be able to help you with that. Okay. But I don't agree with the calculations that Astro Theme uses for Lilith. Okay. So I'm going to skip that. If you look at Neptune is in her third house, in Sagittarius. So third house represents communication and community, and then Neptune represents spirituality, the collective unconscious, you know, kind of like the when I think of Neptune, I think of mermaids, how they're just like beautiful. You see them. Some people swear they see them. Some people are like, no, it's not real. Like, it's kind of like, it's this beautiful, like, alluring thing that people are not even sure if it's real or not. You know what I mean? That's why Neptune represents spirituality, because spirituality is so based off faith. Like, you know, the belief of mermaids is based off faith too. You know what I mean? Like, some people are like, no, I've seen it. Some others will be like, no, it's not real. It can't be real. So that's what I think of when I think of Neptune. Okay. So what I would say with this placement and being in Sagittarius, I would say that when it comes to her spirituality and how she sees the things of the unknown, you know, she does a lot of studying with it, believe it or not. Sagittarius represents foreign ideas, higher learning, foreign travel. You know what I mean? So you know how her and Jay-Z is always traveling and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they like travel to kind of learn more about, of course, about just general cool things around the globe and different cultures. But I think in different lands. But I think that she also does this to kind of like understands her spirituality. Like, she's like, you know, look into different religious beliefs, is really open about not necessarily practicing them, but open about learning more about them and see how it fits her. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised if she like travels around and like kind of learns more about different spirituality, different things about the unknown and the collective unconscious. I also wouldn't be surprised if she just studies religions, studies spirituality, how some people understand different spiritualities. And then just like kind of even go within herself and learn about, you know, like kind of, you know, meditate or pray to try to understand what's out there beyond Earth. You know what I mean? What's out there in the afterlife, even beyond Earth in this life. You know what I mean? Like she just studies and tries to learn more about spirituality through just studying and trying to figure it out herself. The thing is though, like, as you know, this world is quite weird when it comes to spirituality. And if you don't study something that's of the Abrahamic religion or like a known Eastern religion, if you kind of know about like like if it's just like a smaller sect or even like something that has to deal with like magic or divination, you know, you're kind of looked down upon. And I'm not saying that she studies that. But, you know, since she is someone that is of influence, she can't communicate this. And, you know, like I said, the third house is the house of communication. So I wouldn't be surprised if she talks to people that she's super close to about, you know, what she learns about spirituality, the unknown, the unconscious, God, you know what I mean, religion and stuff like that. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised since this is Neptune too. And remember I said things that are related to water signs are very up and down. So Neptune is related to Pisces, and Pisces, you know, represents collective unconscious as well, and spirituality. So I wouldn't be surprised if she is kind of like up and down with how on what she studies, or even up and down on what religion or what practice she's like religious practices that she does. You know what I mean? That it's like she does it based off of emotion. You know what I mean? Like whatever emotion or rigor that she has in her soul, like she'll just go with it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I think for that. The sign next to Neptune is with the circle with the X on it. It's called Pars of Fortune. And Pars of Fortune is basically what you're like, kind of like what you're good at and what can bring you luck because you're naturally good at it, or naturally have like this like kind of connection to whatever it is, right? So Pars of Fortune being in the third house, you know, that means that she naturally is supposed to communicate with others, you know, whether through song, whether through speech, whether through her learning about like different, you know, because, you know, the thing is with Sagittarius is very artsy with themselves too. When I think of Sagittarius, so I kind of think more of like drawing art, but it's art nonetheless. So kind of sharing her art to her community, sharing her art through communicating to others. You know what I mean? So, you know, she's kind of going along with her Pars of Fortune. Like she knows that she does well when she kind of tells people what she learns. Like basically when she tells people things that she learned about her life, that's when she's the most lucky and most successful. And that's why Lemonade probably was the most successful, and why her albums are so successful, because she kind of like, you know, again, like Sagittarius is higher learning, but it's not necessarily like the books higher learning. It could be just learning life. Like, because you think of Sagittarius, you don't think of just like, again, like the books and stuff and going to school. But Sagittarius type of people and Sagittarius energy, they go out and experience the situation themselves, then come back with a conclusion. You know what I mean? They're not going to just read something and be like, yeah, they're right. Like they're going to go out there, experience it, and be like, yeah, okay, yep, they're right now because I know it and I've seen it. You know what I mean? So she goes out there, you know, she's probably the most lucky when she goes out there, experience what she's experienced, learn it, synthesize it, understand it, and then speak it out to the world. That could be a great indicator on why Lemonade was so, and the rest of her albums were just so successful, because there are things that probably happened to her directly. So The 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th and 9th house are all very important houses. But if I feel like if I go through her whole entire chart, it's going to be like an hour long spiel. So, I don't think I'm really going to go into those houses. I can do a part 2 if you guys would like, to kind of go through the houses that don't have, a planet in them. You know what I mean? I know I've mentioned vertex before. But yeah, I'm not going to go into that. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to talk about the houses with the planets in them, so it could be a bit shorter. And then if you want, I can do a part 2, guys, and then speak on the other, the other side of her charts, okay? The charts where it doesn't have planets in them, all right? All right, so I do, though, want to mention her IC. So her IC is actually in Capricorn. So you see the arrow in the bottom of the chart, the black arrow. That's the IC. And the IC starts off the 4th house. And the IC basically is pretty much is the 4th house. It is your home life, privacy, your deep, most inner emotions that you don't let out, that only the closest people, like the people in your family, your husband, your wife, your mom, your dad knows. You know what I mean? And they not even know that. You know what I mean? So that's in Capricorn. And so how I could say that is, I'm not sure how it is now, but Capricorn is kind of like, it's weird. Like Capricorn kind of represents the father. The sun does too, but Capricorn does represent the father as well. Saturn and Capricorn, as well as the sun represents the father, but not Leo, which is weird. Leo doesn't represent the father, but the sun does. It's strange. But she probably at one point, and will eventually do it again, and even she might even do it now, who knows, has like a deep connection with her dad, with her father. As you guys know, like, her father helped her career and helped her, become the woman that she is today when it comes to this like magnificent singer. And of course her mother was very, very close there too. But it looks like the older she gets, the more closer she is to her mom, which is understandable because like when you have like a family, as a woman, and you have your kids, you get closer to your mom because your mom knows the experience of being a mother herself. And so you get to connect with her more and stuff. And that, people, when they get older, like women, they get closer to their mothers, because they understand more about being a woman because they are a woman. They've been there, done that, and they can help you become a better woman. So, but I think growing up and back in like, even though she's really close to her mom, I think she'd be close to her father too, because, I just thought of something. Her mom is actually a Capricorn. Her mother is actually a Capricorn. So there it is. Her mom's right there. The 4th house is represented by the moon. The moon represents the mother. So her mom's a Capricorn. And I wouldn't be surprised if the degree of her IC is right where the degree her mom was born. Because her mom's birthday is near mine. And yeah, this might be close to the close degree, because this is at like 17 degrees, it looks like. And I think her mother's birthday is a day before or after mine, and I'm born on 16 degrees. So isn't that interesting? Look at astrology. That's amazing. So yeah, there it is right there. Another thing to mention is that she wants to have control of her emotions. You know what I mean? She may have a hard time just letting them free, letting them out. Like she wants to, like Capricorn represents control and how people recognize you. It represents your career as well. And so there's 3 things I can say. She wants to have control of her emotions. She doesn't just want to spew them out, let them out. She wants to control them and let them out when she feels like it's appropriate, hold them in when she wants. Again, Capricorn represents career. So again, her career, part of her career is letting her emotions out. Like when you're a singer, when you're a rapper, when you're an artist, you're basically exposing yourself, exposing your music, exposing your emotions into these songs. That's how you become a good artist, through your conviction. You gain the conviction of the song by using the experiences that you had and let it out through the song. So there it is right there. And then how she feels, like her emotions, is how she's recognized as well, because again, it's through her career, through using her emotions to sing. Yeah, so that's that. The descendant, which is the black arrow to the right of the chart, is in Aries. So I'm not surprised about that, because Aries is a fire sign. She ended up marrying a Sagittarius. And, Sages, are a fire sign too. But the thing is what you can say about the descendant, again, it represents the 7th house. The 7th house is one-on-one relationships. And because it starts in Aries, what I can say is through relationships, she learns more about herself. You know what I mean? Like, she learns through being around other people, having one-on-one relationships. And it's not like she kind of becomes the person, but what she does is like, she sees how they are. And this is platonic relationships, romantic relationships, doesn't matter. She sees how they are, kind of like scans through it, look at it and be like, oh, okay, this is what they do. This is why they do it. All right, I see, I peep. And then kind of look at herself and be like, oh, well, I do this because of that. I don't do this because of that. And you know what I mean? Like kind of comparing herself to the other person, not in some shady type of way, but really trying to understand people to understand herself, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say to that for sure. What I'll also say too is that she also asserts herself in the relationship, which makes total sense, because how her songs are. Like she's like, listen, there's certain things, like, it's not like she's like bad in relationships. There's certain things that she's like, listen, I need this, this, and this. If you can't do this, if you can't provide this to me, then bye. You know what I mean? She means business when it comes to relationships, and that could be business partnerships, that can be romantic, platonic, whatever. She means business. She knows what she wants, and she goes after it. You know what I mean? She goes after for what she wants. And that is for sure. The MC, as you guys see, again, representative of the 10th house. That's why it has a black arrow below it too. Represents kind of like what Capricorn represents, how people recognize you, your career. And it's in Cancer. It makes me wonder if her father is is a Cancer, or maybe even a Virgo, since her son's in Virgo. It makes me wonder. But anyway, again, the MC represents how people recognize you, and your career. And so this shows that her career, since it's in Cancer, remember I talked about Cancer and how things are tumultuous with Cancer and Moon. Her career is going to be up and down, but again, like up and down could be like, not just like she's going to hit rock bottom, then rise back up. It could be up and down, as in like, Lemonade came out, she made like, this is me just throwing out a number, like 100 million. And then the next year she only made 50 million. You know what I mean? Like that's still up and down. She's successful as fuck still. But you know what I mean? But up and down can also mean too that her emotional connections to her career is up and down. I remember watching an interview with her when she was in China, and she felt like no one cared about her, and she felt so alone, and like she felt like a machine. Like people just was like, okay, just do this concert. And you know what I mean? Like she loves singing, she loves being a performer, but at that moment in her life, she wasn't feeling that she received the love that she was supposed to receive. the intimate connection that she was supposed to receive. So great indicator right there, you know, just it's up and down in multiple ways, not just with money, but it's up and down with how you feel about it emotionally too. That little horseshoe is basically your North Node, and it being retrograde, it is interesting because retrograde retrograde in a natal chart means that it's something that you keep to yourself, that is very secretive, that you hold back. Your North Node represents your destiny. So her destiny being in her 10th house, like her career is her destiny. That is for sure. It being in Leo, wow, it just makes so much sense. So Leo represents self-expression. So her destiny is to express herself through her career. Bam, that's what she's doing right now. She is going to be ascended. She's going to be ascended. Like, she's doing what her life path is. And the thing is, though, is that she keeps a lot of her self-expression to herself. So even though she is expressing herself still, she needs to let it out more in order to fully do her life path. She, you know, I guess she's supposed to show her vulnerabilities, and that's hard with anyone, especially someone of such a stature as hers, you know. She has Mars in her 10th house and is conjuncting her North Node, so she's definitely going to do her North Node. Do her North Node. She's going to go ahead and, you know, she's gonna do what she's supposed to do with her North Node. She's gonna follow her destiny, follow her path, and actually fully express herself through her career. Mars in the 10th house also shows that you are very driven with your career. Once you find the thing that you're supposed to do in life, I have this placement. And when I do like something, I am super driven with my career. My sister has this placement as well. She actually thinks the opposite, but she also has a lot of things conjuncting her Mars. So, you know, but with her, just for her North Node conjuncting it, that's actually a really good placement. It being a Leo too, which is a fire sign. Again, like, her drive, like, she has the most drive when it comes to she's the most driven when it comes to her like using her talents to get to her career, because again, like, Leo represents self-expression. So self-expression could be talents, self-expression could be the people that you date, self-expression could be your children, because you, like, you know, they come out of you. It's whatever. Leo represents whatever comes out of you, whatever that's God-given that comes out of you. That's why talents are God-given. Children are God-given, and it's coming out of you. You know what I mean? How you kind of express yourself through your dating, through relationships, comes out of you. So, yeah. That's what I mean about that. Her sun is in Virgo in the 11th house. So a part of her identity is kind of routinely being in the society, basically. Routinely showing her face in society, and routinely understanding how people perceive her, and trying to understand how people perceive her and her identity. That's what sun in Virgo in 11th house means. She's supposed to be famous. Like, she's just supposed to be famous. It's just right. It's everywhere. It really is. It's amazing. Her Mercury's in her 12th house. It's in Libra too. 12th house represents the collective unconscious, spirituality, the unknown. I have this placement too. So with her Mercury being here, she's super into spirituality, to the unknown, to the universe, and she will never let y'all know. I would be very surprised if she let people know how super in she's into, like, the unknown, the collective unconscious, spirituality. I have this placement, and I'm the same way. Like, it took me like a while for people to even tell people how deep I'm into astrology. You know what I mean? So, and even then, like, some people don't know the things that I be thinking about. I'm speaking of from experience. Yeah, that's definitely it. What more she thinks about when it comes to spirituality is union, since it's in Libra. Libra represents, again, one-on-one relationships. So it's all types of unions, not just romantic unions, but platonic unions, just one on how you connect with people one-on-one. And so she's super into like maybe twin flames or karmic relationships or soulmates, or how two people are just karmically connected together. And again, doesn't have to be romantic, don't have to be platonic, but she probably into that. And someone probably helped her get in, or helped her, initiated her into spirituality, or helped her get deeper into it. Because she probably, like me, was always into spirituality, always was thinking about it, always got deep into it, but someone grabbed her hand and got her even deeper into it, deeper to the unknown, deeper to the unconscious collective. You know what I mean? Because again, Libra isn't always in pairs. It's the scale, it's the balance. It represents two people relationships. So there's that. Her Saturn is in Libra in the 12th house too. So that's a part of her life lesson, is to, part of her major life lessons is relationships and how it's karmically connected. No one can't tell me that her and Jay-Z aren't karmically connected, how deep their love is and how much they went through. Like, they are definitely karmically connected. I wouldn't be surprised if they were twin flames, honestly. So that's a part of her major lesson. And then Saturn also represents, where you feel restricted, your responsibilities, your authority. So she probably knows that this is something extremely karmic that she has to go through with Jay-Z. And yeah, she loves him. Absolutely. I think they adore each other in both ways, but she knows this is bigger than them, bigger than this 3D earth, bigger than this. You know what I mean? She knows that their connection is just bigger than what they are right now. So that's dope. Wow, Jupiter in the 12th as well. She's very spiritual, y'all. She's super into the unknown. She is probably balls deep into divination, like balls deep into the esoteric, balls deep into like God and spirituality, and what really trying to find out the real. You know what I mean? She has luck, like the unknown and spirituality and God. Like, the more she connects with it, the more lucky she is. That's why she's so blessed. That's why, like, even like the simple little shit that happens in 3D, like, it don't matter. She is gonna forever be blessed and forever be loved and favored. It's dope. So yeah, that's my potentially part 1 reading of Beyonce's chart. I hope you guys appreciate it. If you're interested in getting a reading from me, feel free to hit me up. I have my information and my prices down below if you're interested. And yeah, just hit me up and I'll be able to provide. I hope you guys appreciate this. Please comment below and let me know if you want me to do a part 2 where I talk about the other charts, or the other houses that I didn't talk about. I talk about the 4th a little bit, but I didn't really talk about the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th house because there were no planets there. Those houses are just as important, but I didn't want this video to be too long. You know what I mean? So yeah, let me know if you guys want me to do a part 2 where I talk about those houses, and hit me up if you're interested in a reading. I hope you guys appreciate it, and I hope you guys understand this whole thing. You know what I mean? I hope this helped you understand this a little bit more, and astrology more, and my reading style more. Okay, love you much, guys. Peace.